Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. This is Mike, and I'm going to give you my review of AEW Spring Breakthru, which happened last night. And boy, oh boy, was this a show. Most of the show was really highlighted about the fact that AEW had its 289th episode of Dynamite, which allowed the passage of WCW Nitro as the longest running show on the TNT TBS networks, which is awesome. I mean, good for AEW. I'm so happy that, the competition is still there and that AEW is just, rolling, and this show really just proved that the talent on that roster, if you let them and give them the time and let them shine, they're going to be awesome and they're going to put on some fantastic matches, which we saw last night. The show opened up proper with Mercedes versus Athena as part of the women's Owen Hart tournament battle. Mercedes did get the win with the pinfall at the end of the match, but the highlights of this match, in my opinion, were really the crowd initially. Like, the way the venue looked with the sort of the three layers of the crowd sort of sitting there, as you can kind of see in the background as you were looking at the cameras. It really just gave like sort of just a I don't know, like a extra sort of oomph or reverence to like this match to really just help, elevate what these two were doing in the ring. Some of what I really liked about it, just really the hard hitting nature. Athena got caught with a statement maker, which she sort of like rolled out onto the floor, and then Mercedes blasted her with a meteora on the apron. It was just all fantastic work by both of them. And as I mentioned, Mercedes did get the win to advance in the tournament. And it was noted there that Tony Storm was in the audience, sort of applauding the winner, kind of like half-assedly, which was really funny as well. This was then followed up by Hangman Page defeating a debuting Josh Alexander as the mystery person, AEW's newest signee. This match was awesome, and it was prefaced by the Elite being backstage, and they told Hangman, you need with Okada. Okada was like to Page, you kind of need to smile more, buddy, and got into his face, and that was pretty hysterical. But as the match proper kind of started, Page really just he worked as a baby face with this one, like through and through. He had a moonsault off the floor, but they really gave Alexander a chance to shine. And you did see at one point Don Callis, whispering something in Alexander's ear, like right before he kind of performed I think it was called a walking weapon move. But so kind of setting the stage for something to happen there a little bit later. As I remember last week, I think it was when Callis mentioned that there was another opening in the family for somebody else. But in the interim, even though Paige did get the win, it seems like that might be something to look out for in the future episodes of Dynamite. And it really does seem like, kind of skipping ahead here a little bit, but it really does seem like the stage is set for Osprey and Paige to collide in the finals of this tournament. And I mean, I've said it many times in this channel, Will Ospreay is one of my favorite wrestlers. And I mean, his match a little bit later on the card was just absolutely incredible. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it really does seem like the stage is set for those two to collide and for us to just get one hell of a match. And I mean, it's, early prediction, it would probably be Osprey. And I think it makes sense for him to finally be the person to, win the title and for them to really give him the coronation that he deserves at All In. But absolutely outstanding match here. I love Hangman Page, and I think they put on a hell of a match, and they really made Alexander look like a star in his debut. The next match, not great, honestly, but it was what it was. I love Bobby Lashley and I love the Hurt Syndicate. They did defeat the Gates of Agony by pinfall to retain the tag team championships. It wasn't really anything special. I mean, MVP was as usual, kind of, I'm confident that my guys are great and that they're going to win on commentary. Lashley countered a nice sort of clotheslines in the corner with a hurt lock. And he kind of got hit in the face with a big boot to sort of save the tap out there. There was a bit of a segment backstage where MVP reminded Bobby Lashley to make a business decision on MJF and not a personal one. This was fine. I mean, the Hurt Syndicate obviously weren't going to lose here, but it should be interesting to see how they, eventually build up challengers to beat them, and whoever it is, whoever ends up being the ones to beat them. I know we kind of talked about it on our review of Dynasty, where we think it's eventually going to be a returning Edge with Christian Cage if they ever team, get those guys to team up and have sort of one final run with the tag belts, but we'll see. Speaking of Christian Cage, he did return to tell Nick Wayne that there is a spot for him in the NJPW Best of Super Juniors tournament and a Ring of Honor television championship against Commander on Collision this Saturday. Although, that's obviously WrestleMania weekend as well. But, stay tuned for our review of Collision as well, as we'll make sure to get that out to you guys. The next match was, as I mentioned earlier, was just incredible, right? Like Will Ospreay and Takeshita, just the highlight of the night. Like this match was outstanding. There were so many things to love about this match. I mean, Will obviously played like he needed to win. The initial sort of start to the match, if you will, was a little bit slow, but like once it got going, the last kind of 5 minutes were just absolutely wild. When he hit the Hitenoshi driver and then Takeshita blasted him black with that hidden blade move that he did, just outstanding. Like, I mean, Will Ospreay is just incredible. The crowd loves him. Everybody was so hot for this match, and yeah, I think Ospreay obviously picked up the win by pinfall, and he's gonna deserve it if he ends up being the one to win this whole thing, which I think he will. And he really deserves to be the one to dethrone Moxley at this point since it wasn't Swerve. And yeah, just outstanding. Ospreay has been, the best thing that AEW has, the best wrestler that AEW has brought into the roster, in my opinion, as far back as I can think, right? Like he's phenomenal. What a signing. And I love him. I think he's incredible. Finally, then we did have the main event for the Trios Championships, the Death Riders versus the Ops, of Joe Shibata and a returning Hobbs. And Powerhouse Hobbs is just awesome. He just looks like such a badass. I love him so much. This match was just kind of all over the place, right? Like there was so much going on, back and forth with this match. I loved that Mox went for a steel chair, but then Willow Nightingale popped up to sort of rip that away from him. And then, the Bucks came in to kind of try and interfere as they mentioned last week on Dynamite that they were going to, going to help, the Death Riders with, just kind of because we want to be on the same page, that whole storyline that they had. And then Swerve came out and it was like, it's Buck season. And then immediately on this episode, right, just returning the favor for Swerve to just sort of, rip the chair away from them and then do that double stomp that he does. And it was incredible to see him hit both of them with that, which was awesome. I love Swerve. He's just such a badass. And he's got the look. And while it was a shame that he didn't win, I think, when we get to All In, I think the right move will be to put that title on Ospreay. But with that said, obviously Joe Shibata and Hobbs did defeat the Death Riders with Joe getting in the Coquina Clutch, and yeah, it was awesome. They got the trios titles, and then after that was all done, all the baby faces came out to celebrate and cheer on the new champions, and yeah, that was Spring Breakthru, excuse me. And yeah, that was awesome. What a show. And as I mentioned at the start of this episode, props to AEW for 289 episodes and surpassing Nitro. And I'll give my quick sort of commentary on AEW versus WCW. And it's impossible to compare the two, right? Like different times, different eras. And I've seen the discourse where some people are, who are just anti everything AEW does, and some people are so pro everything that AEW does that people kind of can't meet in the middle. And it's sort of unfortunate that we have so many homers who just can't like WWE and can't like AEW together, and instead just need to like put one down to sort of feel better about the other. And as you guys will see with our channel here, we're never going to be like that. We like wrestling and we're fans of wrestling, and the talent is undeniable, right? Like Will Ospreay is incredible. Hangman Page is incredible. Like, and they're telling some terrific stories. And this Owen Hart Cup every year is just fantastic. They do such a good job with it. And I'm so glad that Dynamite is around because I think it makes everything better, right? Like I know, Cody had mentioned this numerous times when he jumped ship to WWE that he was proud about what happened with AEW and um him bringing that, helping to, to build that just helped all wrestlers, right? And it did. It helps all of these guys get paid more. It helps bring more eyes to the product, and it gives everybody something that they want, right? Because AEW and WWE are very different products. AEW is wrestling through and through, right? And WWE, yes, it's wrestling, but it's more sports entertainment, and I think they cater to different fans. And, if you're a fan of professional wrestling and you want to, you want to find something to watch, there's not going to be a shortage of that, right? Like, there's so much good content out there. And, I can't say enough good things about AEW for, for delivering, when they can deliver. This has been a great ride, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I hope there's another 289 episodes. So, yeah, with that, I've been Mike with 716 Sports Podcast. And as always, guys, please like and subscribe and, join us. We're going to be putting out a ton of content for you this weekend for WrestleMania night one and night two. Look forward to our predictions video for Stand and Deliver, as well as our predictions for WrestleMania night one and night two. We'll also get you guys a SmackDown review, and then our full review and breakdown of WrestleMania night one, night two, and then the Raw after Mania. And we'll talk about all of the results, all of the debuts, and everything else that happens in this busy, busy weekend for wrestling. So thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it, and have a great day.